Hello, welcome to a very special episode of Frankly Speaking. It's a pleasure to welcome you back on the show. A little clumsy with all of this, but what an announcement. You've had all the troll armies actually surrendering to you, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. So how does that feel? Because the GST reforms that were announced by you just 48 hours ago have given a sigh of relief to the middle classes and brought in a lot of festive cheer. How does it feel to become the darling of the troll armies?
Can I thank you, first of all, for giving me this opportunity, and I think it's this story needs to be told and retold and spoken about, not just in studios, not just in clubs where we sit or in friends' places. This story will have to be said in gully, mohalla, nukkad, anywhere, street corners. And we need to speak about it till such a time every Indian citizen understands that this is what has happened. And this is going to impact on his life. And this one tax, GST, impacts on 140 billion people's lives. There is no tax which does this kind of a cutting across sections and reaching to every citizen, meaning every citizen waking up in the morning has something or the other bought in the market which has a implication, GST implication. And therefore, taking a major overall revamp is a big exercise. It required so much of working hours, intense working hours. The bureaucracy was completely with me in every moment, like when I would return saying I'm unhappy with this aspect of the proposal, redo it and come back. There was never a bitter moment or a grudge or a unhappiness. So they've worked together to deliver on a promise which Prime Minister Modi gave, and that is why the contours of the central government's proposal to the GST was defined. And it is going to impact positively every citizen's life, and therefore, Navika, for giving me this opportunity, I'm indeed very grateful. Now, coming to the troll side of the story. There have been very severe criticism, attack, sometimes well understood, and then, sometimes understanding the implication of prevailing GST and trolling, or some other times without understanding how the GST structure works, trolling. So I've taken it all in my stride. It's not that I'm projecting myself to be, oh look, I've taken it. Well, at least over the decades, the kind of counseling, the kind of advice, the elders in the family, who have all helped me to, remain equanimous. You'll have difficult days, you can have good days. Both of them are similar. So
it doesn't matter.
Yes, I take lessons from that and work, but I don't also get too excited about good comments.
So, Nirmala Tai, as they call you on social media, they're now calling you some good names. Cookie Tai, who's very giving.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're calling you.
I've not spent so much time on my social media in the last few days.
Nirmala Tai doesn't feel...
Actually, Tai is a word of respect in Marathi.
Yes.
So I'm okay with that as well.
No, but Cookie Tai. Earlier, Nirmala Tai was very stern. She was giving taxes, and now everybody's saying... There are memes that are actually saying that I'm taking voluntary retirement from the troll army, and I'm sorry because one person has even tweeted and said, I thank Nirmala Tai from the bottom of my heart, my kidney, my femur, because all medical equipment prices have come down. So he's named every single organ. Some of those comments heartening. You must take a look at them. They'll bring
I've not spent any time on my social media in the last 1 week, I must say. because I had to be.
But was there pressure on you in terms of the criticism that was coming the government's way that the GST reforms were long overdue? Was there pressure on you, and were you working with that weight on your mind?
No. If there was to be some pressure, it would have been even for last 2 years, because of the way in which in social media we've been pulled up on various scores. If there was a pressure anywhere, I didn't allow it to enter into my scheme of things. But of course, the lessons and also the suggestions which have been coming, I've been quite seriously taking them on and seeing if I can address them. And that is where this exercise was not just a little, tweak here, little tweak there. It was a comprehensive, like dredging a reservoir, taking all the old sand, old muck out and trying to give it a fresh lease of life. And in that, every item I have gone through. And nothing escaped the team's eyes. We couldn't ignore this, we couldn't ignore that. Everything has been looked at. And that is why it took intense 8 months from my...
8 months.
8 months.
You worked on this. So, राहुल गांधी को आप क्या कहेंगे और कांग्रेस पार्टी को आप क्या कहेंगे, क्योंकि कांग्रेस पार्टी तो कह रही है कि रिफॉर्म्स 8 साल टू लेट आए हैं. ये पहले आने चाहिए थे, क्योंकि राहुल गांधी जी ने आपको ये एडवाइस 2016 में दी थी कि ये गब्बर सिंह टैक्स जो है ये सही नहीं.
If I just take it as reforms and they've come late as reforms, leaving aside the GST side for a moment, as a reform, it's come late. In a way, the opposition party is conceding that the reform has happened and happened in a big way. They should be gracious enough to say it rather than couch it in so many words. That's a plain and simple expectation. But if they are saying, we've been saying this, leader of the opposition has been saying this, you've yielded to it, I wonder why he doesn't tell when their own government was in power. Why didn't he advise them then? अरे reform ले आओ, GST को गब्बर सिंह टैक्स नहीं कहना चाहिए, मगर आप GST कम से कम ले आओ. Why didn't he advise his own UPA government? And in fact, he has been a prodigal leader. He could have advised even in 1991, no, Dr. Manmohan Singh, post the opening up of the Indian economy, there were so many promises under the IMF and World Bank which were left unattended. Please do take it up. Age doesn't matter then or even now. Age never matters. If your wise counsel can be given, you could have given it then.
1991 तो राहुल गांधी छोटा था.
I don't know about that. Even today he is a youth leader. So I don't want to discount anybody for age. If the wisdom prevailed and it is available for from the opposition for the current government, that wisdom should have been available even for their own government. Be it the UPA between 2004 and 14 or even 91. So it's sometimes it's outrageous wanting to take credit where it is not due to them, and wanting to also grudge giving credit where they should have been generous enough to speak about, because this is going to impact on 140 crore people of this country. If you're smart enough, you'll be party to it, you'll be part of it, and take credit and go to the people saying, we've supported this proposal, we are happy to see the rates coming down. They are not willing to do, they are utterly frustrated. So they come up with, there is not even one voice in the Congress party. There is one former finance minister saying it's come 10 years too late, 8 years too late. It's come. But during your term, it never came even belatedly.
They couldn't even get GST passed.
There's that voice, there's this voice, there's a third voice, there's a fourth voice. Come on, you're the opposition party. India deserves better. Come on and say with one voice, are you with it or are you not? It's just frustration which is playing out.
Nirmala ji, Mamata Banerjee, the Trinamool Congress, Well, they're trying their best to take the credit as well, especially the GST on life insurance and medical insurance is something that they say Mamta Didi wrote to you almost a year ago. So would you share the credit with her?
First of all, I respect particularly women leaders who are in politics. West Bengal's finance minister is also a lady. And she talks very well in the GST Council, even if it is opposing a certain issue on which I would come up with one side and she would come up with, even with all that said, very considered and well put forth ideas, even if it's opposing me, but a woman leader, and I've said this in the council itself, there are times when you hear with conviction, when one has done one's homework and takes a position, it's absolutely respectable. All right, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee could have written a letter to me on insurance. My point is, the first thing I came out of GST Council and addressed the media, I thanked every minister of finance who was in the council, irrespective of party affiliation, saying all of you all put together, all of us put together, have come up with something which is going to be stunningly, positively impacting on people. And therefore, I am grateful to each one of them. In fact, I'll disclose something which I normally don't. Yesterday, I wanted to do it even day before, but I did yesterday. Write to each one of these finance ministers, personally thanking them for having done this extraordinary work of a constitutional body which works together, comes out with consensus decisions for people-friendly policies. I've written to each one of them, irrespective of party, irrespective of the state where they are.
Is this the pure spirit of democracy, constitution, federalism?
Absolutely. And for the fact that the GST Council is the one and only council, constitutional body which has been created post-independence, I think we stood all the test of differences of opinion and came up with something. You see how the people of India are rejoicing, saying, oh, ultimately everybody worked together, gave us a result. It is to the credit of each one of them in the GST Council, and I will not grudge giving credit to each one of them, irrespective of parties. Everybody worked together. Of course, everyone strongly argued for the position that they wanted, for the kind of argument that they were putting forth. All of us gave each other the space to hear it. In fact, some of the new members in the GST Council were later on telling me how amicably this council works. How nice to see a council work like this, where parties with differences are sitting together and talk. I'm fully in praise of the GST Council.
So what are you saying? Are you saying this is very different from what happens in Parliament, where all political parties are there, that the leaders of the political parties create more ruckus than the disciplined finance ministers and soldiers who actually have to do the nuts and bolts of delivering governance?
See, the point here is, as finance ministers and as ministers who, come what may, will have to find the resources to fund the promises given to the people and to run the government efficiently, all of us ultimately, over and above politics, keep revenue above politics. Revenue generation is our duty. And revenue generation is for the sake of people. Similarly, tax revenue generated will also have to be used optimally. We should know where to put that 1 rupee which we've earned in the name of tax, so that it returns best of outputs. It should be for the good of all, and that optimum utilization of every taxpayer's rupee is also our duty. And therefore, despite all the political differences, finance ministers do have their head on their shoulder to say eventually we'll have to raise the revenue. So it's not as if we are flamboyantly giving it away at one side and other side say, oh, what's going to happen? We are equally arguing on both and doing what's good for the people. And therefore, I repeat, I sent the letters individually thanking every one of them, and I take this opportunity through your channel to say every finance minister did their maximum best. One, to put forth the idea, and another to say ultimately we'll have to. In fact, I used the word Dharma Sankata in the council. I said there are Dharma Sankatas for each one of them. Some of them voice it more than once, some of them emphatically say it. But that Dharma Sankata is there for everybody. Union government is also not sitting on a pot full of gold. So I appreciate that.
So you're saying remove the chiefs of the parties, the main leaders of the parties, and things can actually happen. जहां पर बड़े लीडर आ जाते हैं वहां पोस्चरिंग शुरू हो जाती है. क्या आप यही कहना चाह रही हैं?
I am saying that if the inputs with which we work in the council are also kept in mind while coming up with a final position or a critical position, I'll be quite happy to receive the criticism. But without understanding how layered decision making is to be in a council, in a constitutional body, to give comments sometimes exposes their insufficient understanding.
So the Congress party is saying सरकार आपकी, सिस्टम उनका चल रहा है क्योंकि आप जो वो सजेस्ट करते हैं आप वही करती हैं.
यही बोल रहे हैं ना. भारत देश में जब if there is a leader like Prime Minister Modi, there are opinions being heard and we execute a lot of things for the will of the people. Whereas that comment is never available for their own governments, whether in the states or when they are in the union government. So they should make up their mind whether they want to be joining in forces to take credit, but be gracious while doing that, rather than act smart to say, you know, it's my advice that you followed. Give that advice to your states. Please go to your states and give that advice there and see if it is getting executed. That's your duty. We execute good advice or execute things which are going to help people. So no comparison.
But there are statements. For example, Mallikarjun Kharge, leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, has said GST was supposed to be one nation, one tax, but it actually became one nation, 9 taxes. Then Mr. Jairam Ramesh has said that within 20 days you implemented after the Prime Minister's announcement during the August 15th speech at the Red Fort. He says that this was a road roller, it was just a show of a GST Council. आपने फैसला तो पहले ही ले लिया था, बाकियों को road roll कर दिया. And some in the Congress are saying कि ये तो 8 साल बहुत देर कर दी. How do you respond to this variety of charges?
Variety of charges, all emanating from the same house, which is the Congress party. My worry is they're getting too obsessed and frustrated. They don't know how in the opposition you can still give credit and be in the opposition with respect. They don't seem to understand on matters which are so publicly well received. They can't be at the edges or fringes and talk as though, you know, this is nothing significant. You be a part of this national mainstream to build this country. If economy is doing well, Navika, it is because of the toil, sweat and toil of our common people. Government at best comes up with favorable policies and at best comes up with ecosystems which can be created to help everybody who is doing his business. And therefore, economy going fastest, I thank people of India. Inflation coming down because of the various supply chain bottlenecks which we removed, it's going to help the people down there who are supplying goods, buying goods, and as a result inflation comes down. Eventually, if we think that we sitting in the opposition are driving the country, I am sorry, there are times they've driven almost towards chaos, which because there's a responsible ruling dispensation across states, the country is still on, as you say in Hindi, patri mein ja rahi hai. है ना?
बिल्कुल ट्रैक पे. सवाल ये भी है कि कांग्रेस पार्टी ने तो ये भी कहा कि
you've shifted to Hindi in your question.
Times Now Navbharat has a large viewership व्यूअरशिप, वो भी आपको सुनना चाहते हैं। तो मैं ये पूछ रही हूँ कि बिहार के चुनाव आ रहे हैं, और क्योंकि बिहार के चुनाव आ रहे हैं तभी आपने ये जीएसटी कम की है, तभी बीफ और बीड़ी जहां 28 से 18% हो गया है टैक्स, और बीफ और बिहार ये भी कहा है केरला कांग्रेस ने। इस पर आप क्या कहेंगी?
माफी मांगना पड़ा उनके अपने अलायंस पार्टनर को, क्योंकि आरजेडी के नेता तेजस्वी यादव जी इस विषय को उठाए, उनके ही अलायंस पार्टनर है। बिहार को अवमानना करना, अपमान करना कांग्रेस को हर बार आता है। बिहार से ही था सीताराम केसरी जी, सही बोल रहा हूं?
बिल्कुल।
उनको कितना अवमानना किया कांग्रेस। बिहार के नेतृत्व और जनता के ऊपर ये हीन भाव है। Am I right using the word?
हीन भाव,
टोटली हीन,
नीचा दिखाने
के लिए कोशिश। और हम हैं जो 140 करोड़ पीपल के लिए जीएसटी को ही इतना अमन करके ले आ रहे हैं, अभी बहाना ढूंढ रहे हैं। और कांग्रेस के रिस्पॉन्सिबल सोशल मीडिया के वजह से एक अलायंस पार्टनर के सामने आप सर झुककर माफी मांगना पड़ रहा है। ये शोभा नहीं देता है हमारे लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन के पार्टी और उनके पार्टी के सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स को। वो एक है विषय, मगर बात है कि जब प्रधानमंत्री जी लाल किले से बोल रहे हैं, देश के लिए बोल रहे हैं, ये नहीं कह रहे हैं कि जीएसटी काउंसिल मैं चला रहा हूं, आप चलाओ और देश के लिए करो। क्या एक अच्छा सा प्रपोजल जिसमें आम आदमी के लिए, मिडिल क्लास के लिए, एमएसएमई के लिए, किसान के लिए राहत मिलने वाले हैं, टैक्स कम करने वाले हैं, इसके लिए मुहूर्त अब देखोगे। कहां भी इलेक्शन नहीं होना, उस समय ही मैं अनाउंस करो। इस देश में भैया हर 2 महीना कहीं ना कहीं इलेक्शन होता है। मैं रोकूं तब तक जब नो इलेक्शन सिचुएशन अराइजेस। ये मुझे बिल्कुल समझ में नहीं आता कांग्रेस पार्टी के अप्रोच टू लुकिंग एट इश्यूज, टैक्स रिलेटेड, मनी रिलेटेड, बजट रिलेटेड। जितना जल्दी आप दे पाओगे उतना जल्दी देना हमारे कर्तव्य होना चाहिए। हम वही किए हैं। एंड मुझे बहुत आनंद से ये कह रही हूं, छठ मैया के पहले, दीपावली के पहले बिहार को मोदी जी का एक और तोहफा और एक और उनके अच्छा कार्यक्रम का एक झलक जीएसटी रिफॉर्म के द्वारा मिला है, और उसमें मेरा भरपूर आनंद है।
बहुत अच्छा आपने हिंदी बोला है, और मुझे लगता है कि बिहार का हर आदमी, औरत, युवा जो सुन रहा होगा बहुत प्रेज करेगा। पर कहीं तमिलनाडु में आपके खिलाफ ना हो जाएं लोग। हिंदी बोल रही हैं आप, हिंदी उन्हें पसंद नहीं है कि कोई और आप तो तमिलियन हैं, और ये भी लोग कह रहे हैं दैट व्हाई आर यू मेकिंग दीज जीएसटी रेट्स एप्लीकेबल फ्रॉम द 22nd टू मैच विद द नॉर्थ इंडिया फेस्टिव सीजन, बिकॉज साउथ इंडियन festive season has already begun. Onam was yesterday. Why not immediate?
Why? Navaratri is celebrated even in South. We keep beautiful Bommalu Gulu. Every house in Tamil Nadu would have arranged small dolls all in one corner of the house, nicely layered. Some keep it on steps, 7 or 9 steps, and some others spread it on the ground. And every day Devi is worshipped. Even as that is done, sprouts from 9 different dhanya are all made, and that is distributed in the evening to children. If you only understand these symbolic messages, sprouts, protein rich, are being given to children, is part of Navaratri, and sprouts being given also shows life coming out, and that is what is Devika Roop. So Tamil Nadu has Golu, Tamil Nadu has Navaratri. And people go to different Devi Mandir to, look at her in different forms for 9 days. Tamil Nadu is not alien to Navaratra.
और आप हिंदी जो बोल रही हैं उससे
नहीं, हिंदी और संस्कृत सीखना, पढ़ना और बात करना मैं तमिलनाडु में जब रही तब भी मैं करती थी, और उस समय एंटी हिंदी का एजिटेशन और स्ट्रांग था। किसी के ऊपर दबाव इस्तेमाल करके ये भाषा ना सीखो, सीखना नहीं है, बोलने का अधिकार किसी का भी नहीं है, चाहे वो चीफ मिनिस्टर हो, चाहे वो पार्टी हो, चाहे वो वायलेंट कैडर्स ऑफ दैट पार्टी हो। मैं बीच में तमिलनाडु में जहां भी आप बोलोगे जाके खड़े होकर इस बात को बोलूंगी। मुझे इसमें कुछ डरने का विषय नहीं, देश की भाषा है, देश का संस्कृति को डिपिक्ट करने वाले संस्कृत को सीखने में और पढ़ने में किसी को भी इतराज होना नहीं चाहिए। चाहे आप ग्रीस जाओ, ग्रीक पढ़ते हैं, रोम में जाओ, लैटिन पढ़ते हैं, गर्व से करते हैं। क्यों हमारे देश में इसके लिए गर्व नहीं करना, और गर्व करना दोष है, अपराध है।
बहुत सही कहा आपने निर्मला जी, बट
जीएसटी से हटकर बहुत सारे विषय,
बहुत सारे, बिकॉज आई थिंक द वर्ल्ड इज नॉट unidimensional. So everything gets connected to other things. But these days I want to ask you, as a finance minister, do you worry every morning when you wake up, okay, what will be the tweet from President Donald Trump? What is he going to say today? Is that something now that you and other ministers in the government worry about when they wake up every morning? Because till yesterday we were crying about the 50% tariffs. Yesterday the statement came that President Trump said we have lost India and Russia to China, and today he says he has a deep friendship with Prime Minister Modi and they will sort out things, and Prime Minister Modi has responded. How do you deal with this roller coaster of emotions that come from the United States?
I first lay all my trust and faith in Prime Minister Modi, who is very astute in handling these sort of matters. And I again place a lot of trust and faith in Prime Minister Modi because he puts the nation first. And no decision that he takes or will take in the future or today will be aside from this. It will be for the nation, and he will be making sure that India is not adversely impacted or hit or whatever. Temporarily, yes, the 50% is something we realize it might hit our exporters, for which the government is working to support the. So, as long as you have a leader who can put the nation first, irrespective of what happens anywhere in any part of the world, it will be handled with maturity, with high degree of responsibility towards one's own nation's well-being. So with that, there's nothing for me to worry every morning. Astute, mature, diplomatic way in which Prime Minister Modi can handle any situation can give confidence to all people in India that we will be like in a boat which is seeing turbulent waters, but you have a boat's leading boatman who will take us well forward.
By the way, the Hindi of boat woman is Navika. So
how very
now chalane wali. So, but I want to ask you, India friends with China or United States of America?
India will want friends everywhere, but India's priority is India. We take decisions to make sure India is safe, India can prosper, India and Indians can live a life of self-respect and dignity.
But do you think the pronouncements that have come in recent times from the United States of America by leaders, people in positions of power there, have somewhere or the other eroded the respect that India deserves?
Common people in India who earlier thought maybe the United States is a friendly nation with India, and in the last 20-25 years a lot of movement, and under Prime Minister Modi between 2014 and today a lot of steps taken to strengthen our relationship. The people of India are astonished at comments which are coming, and I'm sure reason will prevail eventually.
So are we now moving towards an era where bilateral friendships probably will need to be redefined, or are we in an era where there is a love triangle, America, China, Russia, actually it's a quad. Are we going to put our eggs in the quad basket? Are we going to go into the BRICS basket? Because all of these multilateral issues, somewhere or the other, are having an abrasion between themselves, especially with the new thought process in America.
No, but India has always had this position, strategic position. Whether it was Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, you've heard, our geographic location demands that India maintain its position as an independent, non-aligned, an expression which was widely used earlier, not so much nowadays, but eventually we are looking at being independent, economically strong, and be able to take our own decision according to our needs. It cannot be for one or the other that we are so aligned in one side of the world or the other side of the world that our independent decision making will be affected. And therefore, that is the very delicate balancing that Indian leadership will always have to do, be it Prime Minister Modi, which is definitely balancing very delicately. India's leadership will always have to do this because of our neighborhood being what it is. And that is why Vajpayeeji's words are golden words. You can choose your friends. You're talking about friends, whether it is triangular or a chord. You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your neighbors. Vajpayeeji has said this. And therefore, we'll have to be very cautious about how India's position is taken on any issue. Diplomatic, economic cooperation, neighborhood relations, strategic relations. We have to be careful.
And we are now going to be measured. And is Atmanirbhar Bharat now more important than ever before?
100%. You need to have your 140 billion people's requirements met as much as possible with your own manufacturing capability. Excessive reliance, you mentioned about putting all eggs in one basket or you're going to spread it. I think first of all within India, we should have that awakening that unless most of the things that we as Indian public need for our daily lives are produced in India, your dependence elsewhere will grow, and that itself is a risk. And therefore, there is no better moment than now for Atmanirbhar Bharat to be taken as a creed among all Indians.
M.K. Stalin, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, has said that Tirupur is losing jobs because textile exports from Tirupur are a huge part of the Indian exports, and they're suffering because of the tariffs from the United States of America. And he's saying that is happening because your government is favoring one company, one owner of Gujarat to get all the Russian oil and make windfall profits at the cost of people of Tirupur. How do you respond to that?
A bit of a strange logic. And if Tirupur has to be protected, and if Tirupur doesn't require Russian oil, if that's what he means, saying it is going to one particular company in Gujarat and one person, he can always source where he wants to. There are international affairs where the union government takes a call. It doesn't favor anybody. Under Prime Minister Modi, you're telling me that a particular company, a particular big business is being supported. It is we who came up with windfall tax during COVID and afterwards, where refineries or exporters of these products were making big money selling abroad. We've taken windfall tax, as a result of which during COVID and till after that windfall came to almost a nil, per a formula, no ham-handed way of doing it. We were the ones who did the Chief Minister forget to mention that? And that windfall gain went also to Tamil Nadu in one form or the other. He should have stopped it, saying, I don't want from this big business. My Tirupur people are all giving me little amounts in tax. That's more than enough. You don't give me anything that is collected from that windfall because you collected from that big business. He should have said that. And above all, for a chief minister to tie unconnected things one with the other, just makes me feel sad. If Tirupur has to be helped, tell us, you help and we'll also help. Tirupur is part of India. Tirupur is not going to be left out because it's somewhere in Pakistan. Oh, it's all right with the sensationalizing and talking with the spirit of, separate, we are separate to the rest of the country. That has been a bane of Tamil Nadu for over nearly 50, 60 years. There were times when I've heard two-liners which used to say, Terku Teidu Vadakku Valudu, meaning the south is, आप हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, rugged कर it becomes thin and small. Teidu is that, it's become deteriorated. Vadakku Valudu is north is prospering. We've heard that in Tamil Nadu. And now they would say Tamil Nadu is prospering because of our own Dravidian policy. I want to ask, are you not benefiting from the investments coming from the central government? Are you not taking the capital expenditure special allowance which we give for 50 years interest free? Is the Thoothukudi port where Prime Minister went and launched major projects? And Sarvanand Sonowal was here yesterday, was in Thoothukudi yesterday, launching a hydrogen mission. Are these not happening in Tamil Nadu? So I've heard these lines, two-liners, essentially coming from his party and his ideology. Is Tamil Nadu is it going deteriorating now? Because you also claim that we are the fastest growing, not comparable with Bihar, not comparable with Uttar Pradesh. This kind of a politics has actually made Tamil Nadu, in its political discourse, a certain element of toxicity has come in, which is not required. Tirupur is doing well, you take the benefit for it, you take the credit for it. And if it is suffering because of tariff, yes, you've written a letter to the Prime Minister, we'll see how best we can help. The textile industry represented to us, within a matter of 3 days, we extended the cotton duty-free import. That's also going to benefit Tirupur. Would you also care to say that?
Let me also put before you some of the questions that have come in from our network channels, ET Now. Given the recent GST reforms shifting to a simplified structure of 5% and 18%, plus sin goods at 40%, how does the government plan to mitigate the estimated 48,000 crore annual revenue loss?
See, this estimate is based on the 23-24 year base year. And when models are made, estimates are made, they're made on a static data which is before you. But I expect that from 22nd September, since the tax deduction or reducing of the tax is across the board, poor people will be able to get more for their Deepavalis or Navratris. Middle class, which wants to have their aspirational goods bought, whether it is refrigerator, they have a small one, they want a big one, TV, small one, big one, will all be in the market to buy it, resulting in a better buoyancy. And that better buoyancy will help us somewhat, and I'm not saying with a certain voice, somewhat we'll be able to offset this calculated deficit or reduction.
So value may have come down, volumes of purchases will go up.
Absolutely.
How will you ensure that this GST reduction is passed on to the consumers? Because in the past, economists have said sometimes they haven't been passed on in toto to the consumer. Rather, it has increased the margins of corporates.
May have been in the past, not under Prime Minister Modi. And even now, we are talking with industry. We are, in fact, asked them that they should be surely passing this on to the people. And between the day when the GST Council happened and today, you would have seen that very many industries have come out to say, we will indeed pass it on Tata Motors yesterday evening had issued, saying we will pass it on. There are many others who have come out. The insurance sector, public sector insurance companies have also come out to say we will certainly pass it on. So we will be not just being happy about the letters and their statements. From 22nd, I'll personally be monitoring the situation. That it is getting passed. I have had many people tell me from different parts of the country that it's welcome move. And in turn, I've told them, if it is not getting passed on, you must communicate with me. And I shall be on the ground to see.
Some dealers are also asking the questions. For example, if there are cars where the slabs have come down from 28 to 18%, inventory stocks, how are they going to be looked at? Nobody's going to buy it, whereas the dealers got it at 28%. So how does that offset happen for inventories?
As it is, industry was telling me, even before the GST Council, in anticipation of a possible reduction in rate, people are not even coming to buy. Please, therefore, once it gets cleared, can you implement it sooner? Industry told me that. But I need time for the systems, the digital systems, the networks, all of them to be tweaked in such a way that the actual approved reduction in rate gets into the system so that when you get your bill, it is printed out with the new rates. So that required time, and that's why I couldn't implement it earlier than 22nd. So industry wanted me to implement it at the earliest when they were aware of what their stocks were like earlier.
So let me also ask you the question. Rahul Gandhi said and echoed what President Trump said, that India is a dead economy. How do you respond?
I feel sad. I really feel sad, because doesn't he have his own assessment of the Indian economy? Doesn't he have an assessment of what is the actual situation in the ground? And can he not articulate it in his own words? I'll give all ears to it.
To Rahul Gandhi?
Yes, if he speaks in his own words, that is. If he borrows...
उसी के words हैं, Gabbar Singh tax.
नहीं,
वो dead economy.
Dead economy. My point is, can you not borrow words from, however big or small the leader or political whoever it was? Why do you have to borrow? Don't you have an assessment of what Indian economy is? Don't you know where the Indian economy is going? And don't you see that it is the fastest growing economy? Don't you see that it is sooner going to be the third largest economy? Why do you need to aankh band karke borrow words from people and throw it here? Indian people are themselves saying, "Hare, ये तो leader of opposition है, ये ऐसे बात कर रहा है भाई, मगर dead नहीं है, मैं खरीद रही हूँ, बिक रहा हूँ, मुझे कुछ कमाई मिल रही है, ठीक है, वो ज्यादा होने में मुझे संतोष होगा, मगर चल रहा है इकोनॉमी." लोग कह रहे हैं भाई.
You seem to be rather giving up on Rahul Gandhi. Have you reached that stage?
I can't, unfortunately, because he's the leader of the opposition. Actually, I've said this earlier and I like to say it now. It's not casting any kind of a impression on any particular leader or another. Because in the opposition there are several. We need opposition which the people of India deserve. Indian people want good parliamentary setup where strong debates happen. The ruling government is put on the mat and then solutions are derived from it for the betterment of people's lives. Indian opposition, and I'm therefore compelled to say, India deserves a better opposition.
पर ये भी तो आप ही की गलती है, क्योंकि इलेक्शन कमीशन आपका, ईवीएम आपके, वोट चोरी होती है, आप ऑपोजिशन को करने ही नहीं देते, कुछ जीतने ही नहीं देते कुछ.
Sir, you know, their Karnataka government should resign. वोट चोरी की वजह से वो जीते हैं. जीतने वाले की बात है ना, वोट चोरी करके आप जीत रहे हो, मगर जीतने वाले कांग्रेस है भाई. हिमाचल में जीतने वाले कांग्रेस है, उनको छुट्टी दो. वोट चोरी के समर्थन में नहीं हो आप, फिर कैसे जीते?
Let me also ask you some of the common man questions that are being asked from viewers of Times Now Navbharat. और ये हिंदी में है, तो मैं आपसे दोबारा हिंदी में पूछूंगी, क्योंकि लोगों का ये भी कहना है कि आईटी सेक्टर एक सेक्टर है जिस पर अभी यूएस टैरिफ्स नहीं ज्यादा इंक्रीज हुए हैं, पर आने वाले समय में क्या ये अगर होगा विद आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, पहले ही प्रॉब्लम है इस सेक्टर में, और अगर इस पर और टैरिफ्स हो जाएं तो दिक्कत बढ़ जाएगी। ये सवाल बिहार से आया है।
आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में जितना आप ये जॉब रिस्क है ऐसे आर्ग्यूमेंट करते आएंगे, उतना ही मैं ये भी कहूं कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में स्किल्ड लोगों को इतना डिमांड है, क्योंकि आपके पास अगर वो क्षमता है, फिर आप एआई रिलेटेड जितने भी यूजर एप्स हो, टूल्स हो, वो बनाने में सक्षम रहेंगे। इसीलिए अगर आप एआई में स्किल्ड हो तो आपको ये डेंजर जरूर नहीं होगा। और आईटी कंपनीज भी आजकल उसी रास्ते पे चलते हुए उनके बिजनेस मॉडल को परिवर्तन कर रहे हैं। उसके कारण उनके बिजनेस भी आगे बढ़ेगी। और एक बड़ा सा एडवांटेज एआई के वजह से है, और वो ये है कि एफिशिएंसी लेवल्स बढ़ेगी। उसके लिए बिजनेस मॉडल में एआई आज एमएसएमई सेक्टर में भी लोग सोच रहे हैं कि कैसे उससे हम बेनिफिट पाए। इसीलिए एआई से डरने से बजाय हम उसके लिए रेडी होना चाहिए।
अतुल कुमार पुणे से पूछ रहे हैं, नाविका जी मेरा सवाल निर्मला जी से है कि मैनेजमेंट स्टूडेंट्स में बहुत कंफ्यूजन है। जिस तरह से टैरिफ का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है, कई सारी एक्सपोर्ट कंपनियों में नौकरी पर संकट है, फ्रेश बैच बहुत डरा हुआ है, अमेरिका से कोई बैक चैनल बात चल रही है?
ट्रेड नेगोशिएशन चल रही है और आगे भी चलेगी, मगर ट्रेड से हटकर ऑब्जेक्शंस का विषय है, तो वो अलग डिप्लोमेटिक स्तर से हैंडल करना पड़ेगा। इसीलिए ट्रेड चल रही है, ये सब विषयों के ऊपर चर्चा भी हो रही है। और आज सुबह आपने देखा कि कैसे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी भी रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहे हैं कि आखिर हम सभी देशों से अच्छा रिश्ता ही रखना चाहते हैं।
But do you think the 50% tariff that will be that is already now implemented will shave off a large part of our GDP growth?
No, I don't think. It can have an impact, but we are also equally helping the export industries, particularly those who are hit by this 50% tariff, to be able to withstand it, and also in the meanwhile try to look at newer markets where they can take their products. We'll stand by our industry, and therefore don't allow them to get hit adversely too much by this tariff. And if they are able to stand and do their business, GDP should not be that much affected.
So are you going to come up with a package for those exporters that are currently feeling the pressure?
That is something which is being worked out. What exactly it will become, I cannot say. But many departments are involved. Sectorally, those who are connected with the industries which are affected by this are also working together.
So Nirmala Tai, like Mary Poppins, has more stuff in her bag which is going to keep coming out. Tax reforms in February budget, GST reforms now.
12 lakh income tax rahat.
12 lakh, बिल्कुल। किसी ने तो मीम ये भी बनाया है, एक तरफ इंदिरा गांधी जहां 12 लाख पर टैक्स, 11 लाख किसी ने डाला है, और आपको 12 लाख पर जीरो टैक्स।
जैसे मैंने पहले कहा, मैंने देखा नहीं है। I will spend some time and have a look at these.
But you must maybe over the weekend look at some of those trolls who have now resigned from the troll army and have become the fan club army.
Oh, I see.
So your followers are growing. But let me get into our rapid fire round. The GST has hurt common man so far, yes or no?
No. Because the rate which was on each of these goods pre-GST was even higher. So how will GST affect you? You wanted it to be even lower. That's fine, which is what we've done now. But pre-GST era, you were paying multiple rates on each of these items. They were far higher. Leader of the opposition may have forgotten it. We didn't set the pitch at a high level.
पर उन्होंने बोला था one slab at 18% होना चाहिए, तो वो तो आपने मान ली उनकी बात.
नहीं माने.
नहीं माने.
नहीं, one slab at 18 हमने थोड़ी ना की. We've done 5 and 18.
Most crucial aspect of GST reforms: government initiative or government opposition political will?
Joint political will eventually, but it was a virtuous, fantastic proposal which went from the center.
Upper hand निर्मला ताई ने अपने पास रखा है. Does India need a new wave of privatization? Yes or no?
India needs privatization, no doubt. We'll be doing it. Yes, a new wave is required.
Rupee volatility driven by global markets, domestic mismanagement or tariffs?
Global, the first point that you said.
Domestic mismanagement तो हो ही नहीं सकती. You will never confess कि कुछ भी गलत हो रहा है इस सरकार में.
जब वो ट्रू नहीं है वो मैं क्यों मानूं? Volatility of rupee is purely against.
Perfect है.
Volatility of rupee is against the dollar, not against any other currency. So when that is the truth, why should I say anything different?
I thought rapid fire में थोड़ा आपको trip करने की कोशिश करूं. Are the GST reforms catalyzed by Trump's tariffs? Is Trump behind pushing the date?
A major reform like this cannot happen just after the tariff. It's the work which was in progress for now, as I said, 8 months.
Donald Trump says India has offered him zero tariffs. True or false?
False.
BRICS, RIC or Quad? What should India be part of? RIC is Russia, India, China.
Yeah, India should be part of all of them.
All of them?
Yes.
वो तो हो नहीं सकता. Sometimes you have to choose.
No, but we are now at the moment in all 3 of them.
Can one word to describe Donald Trump?
President of the United States.
That's a very tame answer.
No, but that's true.
Everybody is now expecting Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister of the country, to hit every ball out of the park for a sixer.
But I have said the fact. Is he not?
One word.
Is he not? POTUS.
That he is.
POTUS, one
but
word.
Then he
POTUS.
is. That he is. That the world knows. How you describe him in one
That's
word?
how I know him.
Okay, one word to describe Rahul Gandhi.
LOP.
Nirmala Sitharaman, why are you being so tame?
No,
Kuch to bolo.
I'm telling the fact. I'm not being tame, but you want a headline out of me.
Yeah.
And these are the headlines I can
But
offer.
at least on Rahul Gandhi, the BJP is more than willing to give headlines.
I'm giving you this as the headline.
LOP. One word for Rahul Gandhi's view on the economy.
Ill-informed.
Is India growing despite reforms or because of reforms?
Because of reforms.
Make in India slogan, success story or work in progress?
Actually a success story.
What is India's bigger economic challenge, China or unemployment at home?
Economic challenge is being compared with one external and one internal. No answer is possible here.
Achha, so what is the external challenge and what is the internal challenge?
Global uncertainties. Global uncertainties. Not just one China there. Global uncertainties.
And
that's
internal?
the answer.
And internal?
Eventually being hit by all of them.
Will India hit 5 trillion by 2028? Are we on track?
We are on track to become the 3rd largest, no doubt, within a
वो तो हो ही
year.
जाएगा, but time बताइए ना.
No, that's what I'm saying.
2028?
Yes.
Okay. Who will win Bihar?
Undoubtedly NDA.
What about the Prashant Kishore factor?
Can be there, but we will win. Hands down.
Will he cut your votes or will a triangular contest benefit?
Bihar voters are very smart people. They'll know how to vote in order that a winning working coalition can be brought to
But
government.
20 years your coalition has been in power. and there are still miles that Bihar needs to go.
Yes, still miles for Bihar to go, and that is why you see in many of my budgets, I've given so many different projects under the guidance of PM and under the guidance of the CM Nitish Kumarji. And that is why I think Bihar requires further support.
Are Brahmins profiteering? Is there a class in India that is the profiteering Brahmins?
There is a class in India which justifies this language.
Now the clause come out. Can you actually name who all are there in that class?
There were several of them, some Rajya Sabha MPs astonishingly defending this language and saying, oh, you Indians, you don't understand Boston Brahmins. It's an expression, it is part of the lexicon. Why do I need to know that lexicon if it is going to insult India?
Are we financing the Russian war against Ukraine?
It was the most ridiculous thing I heard. But if Russia itself is buying diesel from us, which is out of a refined Russian crude, who's funding whose war?
Okay. The opposition claims the decision to introduce a bill to strip ministers of their positions if they are jailed for more than 30 days is a bid by the centre to destabilize the opposition governments. Is there truth to this?
Are they admitting that opposition governments are people who are corrupt and who will be in the jail and therefore cannot sign files from the jail? Are they admitting that? If they have nothing to worry, why should they not cooperate? It has gone to a committee, go sit there in the committee, get a proper solid bill. But India and young generation Indians cannot any longer put up with this level of arrogance, level of indifference, where corrupt people go to jail and sign files from there and run governments from there. Are we wanting an India of this sort? Will you not want to have that cleansing done?
Passionate Nirmala. Well, in the end, I only have one thing to say, Nirmala ji, you've been the longest serving finance minister presenting the maximum number of consecutive budgets, and a woman finance minister at that. Do you feel you are underrated and given, or do you feel you are being given your due?
I do what is given to me, and I do it with best of my intentions and full of my commitments. And that is my one and only duty for the responsibility Honorable Prime Minister has given me. And I'll keep doing that as long as he's asked me to be here.
But for a woman, you know, the kind of milestones that you've achieved, isn't this a message to the entire class of women that they are at the high table like never before? And to that extent, have you been given your due?
No, very clearly. It is clearly a sign of how in India women are given opportunities, and every naysayer on this count, the so-called self-anointed feminists on this ground, I would want them to see it. There is just no way that India keeps women down. If there is an opportunity and if there are women, they should seize it and do their best. Each one is a standing example. Each one, whoever, wherever they are. So to have this narrative that India suppresses women, India has no place for women, it just makes me feel sad. To that extent, yes, I'm with you on that point.
Thank you very much, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, and thank you very much for bringing smiles to the people of India in this festive season. This year has been a mixed bag of bad news, so this festive season, when you see smiling faces, I think everybody owes you a big thank you. Thank you very much for joining me on Frankly Speaking.
Thank you, Navika.